A Swiss law firm implicated in the Panama Papers also has links to an alleged Russian mafia, the Daily Beast has discovered. As reported last week in the disclosure of documents leaked from the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca, the Zurich-based firm Dietrich, Baum-gartner Partner played an integral role in the transfer of some $2 billion from a close circle of friends and associates of Vladimir Putin. Money widely thought to belong, at least in part, to the Russian president. Dietrich Baumgartner is known in Switzerland for its influential Russian client base. It even keeps code names for the ones whose notoriety demands a consummate lack of transparency. The firm's founding partner, Anders Baumgartner, is quite ostentatious about his Eastern connections. He's quoted in The Guardian as having told his colleagues, "I have a relationship with people from the KGB, right up to Vladimir Putin." There are also two known connections between Baumgartner's firm and the Kluyev Group, which U.S. Senator John McCain has called a dangerous transnational criminal organization that has colluded with senior Russian officials to engage in bribery, fraud, embezzlement, company thefts, and other serious financial crimes. Members of the Kluyev Group have been sanctioned by the U.S. government under a law named for its most high-profile victim, Russian tax lawyer Sergei Magnitsky. In 2007-2008, Magnitsky uncovered a $230 million tax fraud allegedly perpetrated by ex-convict Dmitry Kulyev and his confederates, which included state tax officials and the Interior Ministry investigators. Magnitsky was then framed by the very men he exposed. He was beaten to death in a Moscow prison hospital in 2009. Documents seen by the Daily Beast show that on April 13, 2011, Altum Investments Limited, a Cyprus-registered company controlled by Dmitry Kulyev, transferred $4,499 into a Swiss bank account belonging to Dietrich Baumgartner Partner. The law firm also represented Vlad and Stepanov in a money laundering case opened in 2011 by the Swiss Authority General in relation to the Magnitsky affair. Stepanov, said to be a member of the Kluyev Group, is an ex-husband of Olga Stepanov, who formerly headed Moscow Tax Office Number 23, which processed part of the fraudulent $230 million fraud refund. Leaked documents available at the Russian Untouchables show that prior to Stepanov's divorce in 2010, they jointly controlled nearly $390 million in assets, including multiple offshore companies, an award-winning Moscow dacha, a seaside villa in Montenegro, and a 6-bedroom, 7-bath signature villa in Dubai's artificial archipelago, Palm Jumeirah, as well as 2 luxury apartments in Kempinski Resort on the same Gulf Island chain. This, despite the couple's official combined salary at the time equaling $38,381. Dietrich Baumgartner featured in the Panama Papers scandal as the main law firm used by controlling interests of Bank Russia, the Russian financial institution that moved huge sums of money offshore to companies owned by Dmitry Roldugin, Putin's best friend and a concert cellist. Bank Russia was sanctioned in March 2014 after Russia's invasion and annexation of Crimea because the U.S. government stated the personal bank for senior officials of the Russian Federation. One White House official named Yuri Kolchak, single largest shareholder of Bank Russia, as the personal banker of many of the same officials, including Putin. Kolchak was a part of the Ozero Cooperative, a lakeshore district in St. Petersburg, where a coterie of Putin's associates from the 1990s once lived and apparently pooled their collective fortunes. All members of the cooperatives are today, on paper, billionaires. Roldugin was not one of them, and the musician's true portfolio as a 7-figure bagman for the president was mostly speculative, until the Panama Papers came to light. Vladimir Kotyminsky, an investment banker at Russia, would email Anders Baumgartner instructions at the latter's Zurich office. Baumgartner would pass on Kotyminsky's orders to enact loans or make share deals to Mossack Fonseca's branch office in the same town, as The Guardian reported last week. The Panamanian law firm then used its own network of offices in far-flung jurisdictions to operate anonymous shell companies in the British Virgin Islands, Panama itself, or Belize. Roldugin was also one of the few members of Putin's inner circle to evade U.S. sanctions in 2014. As such, his prominence in Bank Russia's offshore network only grew in the last 2 years. Dietrich Baum-gartner registered a new Swiss bank account in his name. The linchpin of the entire Putin-linked network, according to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, is Rudolgan-owned company called Sandalwood Continental Limited. It borrowed huge sums of money from a Russian commercial bank, the Cyprus-based subsidiary of the Russian state bank, VTB. From 2009 to 2012, Sandalwood had $800 million in credit lines. It lent $600 million in 2009 and $350 million in 2010 to a borrower who had no discernible business model that would allow it to pay back the money, the ICIJ found. The loans carried no security. Most did not require installment payments, but instead relied on a promise that the entire amount would be returned after a certain time span. In one particularly dubious loan, Sandalwood borrowed $103 million from RCB at 4.7% interest rate and transferred it immediately to Horowitz Trading Company, a separate company, at 7.8% rate. Jürgen Mossack, a founder of Mossack Fonseca, wrote, "I believe this is delicate. We could be witnessing payments of questionable origin and purpose." Dietrich, Baum-gartner Partner, processed some of the loan's paperwork as his reputation was enlisted in the Panamanian firm to legitimate transactions. As we are working from this client from a reputable Russian bank for some years now, our legal client of reference is a well-known Swiss law office. I think we can accept the explanations and go ahead, one attorney at Mossack's Liechtenstein office wrote. The Russian commercial bank denies being a clearinghouse for any high-ranking Russian officials. Putin has blamed the Panama paper revelations on a U.S. disinformation campaign destined to destabilize Russia, citing a conspiratorial tweet by WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. As for Rudolgan, Putin insists that his lifelong friend has spent almost all the money he earned on acquiring musical instruments from abroad and bringing them to Russia. Thank you for watching. Want to go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media. And if you want, you can head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you could head over to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available.